Everybody's experienced unpleasant changes, whether it's from people dying or, matter of fact, a change that you didn't want, like a divorce or an ending of a job, or this big crazy world has how things have changed with COVID. Things have changed, and these people will experience grief and loss because of it. So sign up to this channel and then come join me. It's tomorrow, Sunday, April the 20th, and or it will be a course that you can take. And yes, if you miss it, you can also watch it later. Grief and loss. How does grief and loss work? First of all, you don't have to, somebody didn't have to die to experience grief and loss. As a matter of fact, the majority of the emotional issues that I'm working with people has an element of loss and sadness because of it. Whether, again, like it's a divorce or a death or moving from one job to the next, or because the world has changed in the political environment, or it could be a number of things about grief and loss. And so, although I've worked with a lot of people with grief and loss, I personally had major changes. I've sold my home. I moved to a different place, smaller place, bigger property. I've had my brother, he committed suicide about 4 or 5 months ago, maybe less than that. I had many deaths, changes, unwanted changes I didn't want. But how do you deal with it? It's interesting that people will experience miserable pain, and the pain is so miserable they would never even get close to it. I had a woman come in my office and she said, I can't find my mother. I can't find my mother. And I said, where did you see her last? She said, no, I can't find her in here. I said, what does that mean? She said, well, my mother was my best friend and she died 10 years ago. And I've never cried since. And I said, okay. So what happened is a lot of people will experience a loss. It doesn't have to be a death. And the pain is so strong, they tuck it away and never go back and visit. The problem is the pain still shows up. It shows up in different scenarios. It shows up in depression. It shows up in overeating. It shows up in divorce. And so I just started cleaning this up. And again, what I did is I released the pain of it. And she did cry for the last time on that. She cried. We made peace with it. And now she found her mother. Her mother was always there inside of herself. And so a lot of times when people say, well, shouldn't you grieve if someone dies? I said, maybe if you want. Grief doesn't do anything. It doesn't fix anything. It doesn't solve anything. It actually could destroy you, destroy your health. And so there's a healthy way to process the changes, like death, or like a divorce, or like a losing a job, or moving from this place to that place. And one of the things that we would do is we would clean up the pain, release the pain, and keep the gift. Now, what's the gift? The gift are all those happy, positive experiences you had. And every time you think, like I think of my mother, I think of kisses and how she kissed me on the cheek and said she loves me. Or I think about my brother. I think about his smile and how we did things, rode motorcycles together. So again, what we want to do is release the pain and keep the gift. That's the gift. I call it ultimate forgiveness as well. And so one of the things also is like Sue LaRue, she would go to a funeral and they thought she was the grieving widow. And she didn't even know the person. And what happens is she created the skill of grief and loss. And she's escalated it so big that they could pay her to come and cry at a funeral. That's how good she was at it. But it was a harming process within her. So one of the things that we'll do is we'll work with grief and loss. We'll go over how to do this. I will have a volunteer. We'll all work together on it and we'll make some changes. This one area in your life, the regrets, the loss, the grief, and it could be anything. Most people think it has to do with death. It doesn't have to do with death. An unwanted change. And I can help you make adjustments. And when you leave, you'll leave with the gift that lives forever within you. And that's what we want to do. Now, again, you have to understand, this is one thing you can guarantee. Things always change. Changes occur without your permission. People come in and people leave. People are born and people die. We're all going to die. It's a part of processing the world. And so, but here's the deal. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to cherish the memories? or are you going to grieve? It's like some people are really good, so good at this. Is like they will go spend time with their brother or their mother or a friend, and they're having a great time, and they're going to leave on Friday, but now it's Wednesday, and they start to feel really sad. And I said, why are you so sad? Why are you sad? She says, I'm leaving on Friday. I said, but it's not Friday. It's Wednesday. We should have fun today. We should do things and travel and see things. And yet some people will leave on Friday and they will be smiling all the way home and feel really good and grateful and have these great memories. And other people are sad because it ended. Now here's the deal. Things always change. What are you going to take with you? Are you going to take grief? Are you going to take the pleasure? So the woman who's been crying every night, holding her husband's pillow, or blanket actually. Every night she'd cry for 9 years. Depressed, gained a lot of weight. And her friend encouraged her to come and see me. And so when she came and saw me, I said, what's going on? So she said, I've been married for 50 years, the most beautiful 50 years, and he died in a week. So what was she rehearsing and replaying and going over? She's going over for the week, not the 50 years, that's the gift. And so I helped her release the emotions of it. And I released the pain of it and keep the gift, which is of the beautiful memories. And then, and I also had her bring her a photo album. We cleaned up any emotions attached to that. And then about, 3 or 4 months later, she called me on the phone. She said, Robert, I just want to thank you for changing my life. She said, if I hadn't came to see you and I hadn't worked on this, I wouldn't be here today at Disney World with my grandchildren. She actually forgot about children. She's just too busy being grieving. And now she's spending time with her grandchildren. And this is the cost of holding on to pain and not knowing how to let it go. And then, of course, another woman, she'd been seeing me several times. And one time she came in with her friend. Now, of course, her friend said, do the big one. She started crying. No, I can't do the big one. I can't do the big one. And I said, listen, I can help you do it. You don't have to tell me anything. I can still help you. And so we worked on this big one. And matter of fact, it was a very big one. And what had happened is she was 17 years old and she got pregnant. She got pregnant and she was put in a home for unwedded mothers. And when that baby was born, she saw the baby girl and they whisked the baby girl away. From that point forward, she's been grieving for many, many years, over 20-something years. But when we got done, the pain was gone. She didn't feel guilty. She didn't feel the shame. She didn't feel the hurt or the pain. And the next session she came, she had a big smile on her face. She says, you won't believe this. I said, what? She says, my baby has been looking for me all these years. And I'm moving. I'm going to Louisiana. Now, let me just say something. If she hadn't gone and cleaned up the pain, she would grieve the rest of her life and never really get to see that grandbaby or her daughter, something she only saw once. So the value of working on yourself and cleaning up the painful memories of the past sets you free. It gives you a better quality of life, and you keep the gift with you. And that's those memories that they left you. The present of a better life. So I'd like to invite you to come and join the training tomorrow. It's a 3-hour training from 12 to 3, Oklahoma time, which is Central Time. And if you can't make it, we're going to create a course on there and you can watch the video. So anyway, learn to love yourself, like yourself from within yourself, because what you do up here, you do to other people. So be nice. We'll see you there. Peace.